Mark Isham is a Grammy and Emmy-winning composer known across film, television, and music. His scores for films such as Crash and A River Runs Through It have earned him critical acclaim. Known for seamlessly blending electronic and orchestral elements, Mark has collaborated with such directors as Robert Redford, Robert Altman, and Brian De Palma. His discography is extensive and varied, featuring work with artists such as Chick Corea, Van Morrison, and Johnny Mitchell, and spans genres from jazz to orchestral to progressive electronic. More notable films and TV credits include Point Break, Blade, Once Upon a Time, and The Black Dahlia, cementing his legacy as a major influence in modern music. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah. So I'm very emotional and very I feel amazing in your place, where you make your music. Oh my God.
Well, thank you. It's a long time being built, this place, but it's a good room. It's fun to work in. I spend many hours here, and
yeah. I mean, look at it. It's amazing. So my question number one for you is, how did you fall in love with orchestra?
That started when I was very, very young. My mother was a concert violinist and played in symphonies all over the world. And I would be taken to rehearsals and do my homework in the third row while she's rehearsing, and then wander around the orchestra after I'd finished my homework, and spent many an afternoon and evening just listening, just being in the environment, and I just loved it from the very beginning. And at one point, my mother wanted me to, she's a violinist, so she wanted me to play violin. And I played violin for about 3 years, and I was pretty good. I could play really fast, but I could never vibrato. So I sounded like a country violinist, and she hated that, of course, because she was very classical. But one day I remember walking into the back of the orchestra and seeing these guys back there with the trumpets, and they had their meatball sandwiches next to they were the cool guys in the orchestra. And I said, I think I'd rather do that. And that's how I got on playing trumpet. And then a few years later, she was playing one of the Bach cantatas or the Bach oratorio or something, and there's beautiful Bach clarino trumpet parts in a church. And I was just old enough at that point to say, that's the most heavenly sound I've ever heard. I mean, that's just, nothing else have ever made me feel like that. The hair on my arm standing up, just like, and I said, that's a trumpet. And if I could create that effect for others, that would be a life worth living. So
I think I'm going to show you something interesting today. Let's put it that way. So I also want to understand, because of course, I mean, you at this point you've done more than 100 fully featured movies. From Crash to mention one, Point Break. I mean, these are giant jobs that require a lot of effort in terms of pre-production and even coming up with what is it that you need to do on this one. So I would like to know, how does your day look like? I see your room, and I see that you have a mixing side of it and a composing side of it. Respect. And so how does it look like when you start a day of work?
It's a long process, and it starts, of course, with getting an idea. What are you going to write? Where does that idea come from? And the film obviously directs you in the direction. And one of the first decisions I make is, am I going to write it here with all the electronics, all the sounds, infinite possibilities of sound? Or do I know that I'm going to go in a traditional enough direction with this score that I want to go into the house with a piece of paper and a pencil and sit at the piano, my grandmother's piano. Yeah. And I leave it in the house because I like it in a completely different environment. Plus, the kids get to play it. Everybody gets to use it. And sometimes I'll just spend a week at the piano and write the score at the piano in a very old-fashioned way. But, the world of scoring has evolved into a very electronic, a very highly technical craft now. So 9 times out of 10, I'm in this room, and I'm picking sounds, I'm designing sounds, I'm deciding what is the texture of this score? What's it going to feel like? What colors is it? And because some scores these days don't even have a theme, they'll maybe have a two-note motif or a sound that defines what that score is. And that comes, of course, from all the gear, all the tricks and the fun stuff.
I would like to dig deeper into your process. So I take it that you have a moment of composition, and you explain to me how that can happen differently. But there is at some point you will have to at least create a mock-up of that orchestral part will sound like. And of course, I don't know exactly how much you like to arrange and orchestrate at the same time as you are composing or later. But what I would like to know is what does that process involve? Do you use a DAW with plugins? Do you use Sibelius or whatever you may use? How does that happen?
I use Logic, and I use just a large collection of instruments and plugins and sample libraries that I've collected over the years. If it's an orchestral score, I have a template that I built that has my favorite orchestral samples. And that changes, that evolves over the years. Years ago it was, I was part of a group that went to Moscow and recorded the Moscow Radio Orchestra in a beautiful hall there. And I use those custom samples I still use some of them because I still think some of them are the most realistic. They have little flaws in them, and it makes it feel very musical. Obviously, Vienna, and there's a lot of people who come out, Spitfire, a lot of people have come out with really elegant, beautiful libraries. Oh, yeah. So I have bits and pieces of all of them. And Berlin brass, I use lots of different, whatever for that particular project. The more traditional it gets a certain approach, the more modern gets a slightly different approach.
How many instruments you may have in a template for your strings, for example?
Too many.
Right.
Cool. I would love to be able to condense it. I mean, part of the problem with the sample world, because I think this is where we're going with why we're here today, is that every sort of articulation, every sort of change in an instrument requires a whole nother group.
That's right.
Right?
You mean as in, now I'm playing pizzicato, now I'm playing détaché, now I'm playing... All right, okay. So that's what you do. You take a different instance of that instrument rather than using key switches around because that becomes a bit of a mess and then...
I do some key switching.
Okay.
But in my experience, the better sounds are the ones that aren't necessarily all grouped together. And this key switching sometimes isn't as musical, and it's better to sculpt a certain thing and then sculpt another thing.
So now you've finished your mock-up, the Polaroid, as Quincy calls it, right? Yeah. and now you have to communicate the music to the musicians. How does that process look like?
Well, maybe I should back up and say this Polaroid version is the most important thing of all, because that's how you sell the director and the producers that you've achieved their goal, right? Imagination, the days of playing something on the piano and saying, doesn't this sound great? That's been gone for years, right? And it's moved so far that unless your mock-up is almost perfect and almost as good as the real thing, there's not a lot of imagination that's going to save you, right? That mock-up is my lifeline to staying employed and staying liked and loved by my producers and directors. So it's a very, very, very important step. And I think mixing and producing a good demo is just as valuable a skill as writing in this day and age. Knowing, do I compress those low cellos at this point? How much do I compress them? Do I double them? Do I triple them? What do you do? And you have to do this at this stage. You can't wait for the stage to do that. You have to do it at this Polaroid stage.
Oh boy, you're gonna love SWAM. So, and how do you then tell the music to the musicians, and what is the communication entail?
So I work with an orchestrator because I'm okay, but I'm not that great. And I have an orchestrator who I just love, and he's brilliant. So I love his input and his creativity with it all. And I will be talking to him all the way through the writing process about where I think we're going, what the models are. Is there a lot of John Adams in this? Is it going to be more intimate? Where are we going with this? And he will then start thinking, and I'll send him some demos, and he'll start thinking about it. And I do pretty good orchestration to the sense that my Polaroid mock-up sounds like a real thing. So if it's a trumpet solo, it's a trumpet solo. If it's a brass choir, it's a brass choir. If it's a woodwind ensemble, it's a woodwind ensemble. So that stuff is already defined, you know. Now, does the viola play that line or the top cello's divisi? That's someone else's decision.
Nice.
Right? That's his decision. I will get the string voicings the way I like them, but how they're split and how they're voiced, and he say maybe double it octave higher. I take all that advice and consult from him. So then we're going into the studio, and I like having a score on paper that's passed out to the orchestra, that if you conduct it well and you record it well, it sounds perfect in one pass. Hollywood doesn't like that. Hollywood wants everything separate, right? So that they can fight the sound effects and triumph over the sound effects when it's all assembled. And I understand that. But my communication with musicians is, let's get this sounding perfect in the room as an ensemble. And then I know what's right, what's wrong, and what we can adjust and how it works.
Because presumably, like those dynamics, those you know, the delicate touches, the fork here, the you know, cantabile there. It's something that you do in a way with faders and with controllers in your mock-up, and then when you express it, you have to translate all that information, and if you've done it correctly, the song kind of mixes itself as it's being played. Is that correct?
If the translation from the well-done demo is correct to the page, with everything that's really on it, then that first pass can sound pretty good. The hardest part is probably articulations, because that's a great detail work in a mock-up. You know, you know, that sort of detail takes hours in a mock-up. So sometimes we'll sit with the orchestra and dictate, you know, no, specifically this is the way this phrase should be articulated.
Well, I think that this is the time where I show you how a mock-up can be done differently.
All right, I'm very excited about this.
And this is the part where I have to play in front of Mark Isham. That's okay.
It's totally okay.
No pressure. So here is a modeled cello. So that means that we're not dealing with bits and bobs of samples. It's really recreated. Like if it's a flute, they recreate the tube. If it is the wood, they recreate the wood. Like literally, they model how the physical object behaves.
Right.
So that's the breakthrough, right?
Yeah.
So you can make it sound like this.
Good.
That's good.
Very good. It's very good.
Yeah, and of course, you know, listening to one is fun, but I thought of creating a little contemporary piece for you.
All right.
And it goes something like this. All right. So now we take the double bass here.
Mm-hmm.
no mistakes.
All right.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
One take for the double bass. Let's go for the next take, which is cello.
Okay. Okay.
I swear I'm going somewhere with this.
It's making sense so far.
Right, good,
Good.
good. Let's see if you will like that minor 9. Where is he? that I'm about to play, okay. All right. All right. So now, violas.
All right.
All right?
All right.
Okay. Now we're getting to violin number 2, second violin. And so we'll hear a little bit of what's actually going on up there. And finally, first violin. The final result, without the annoying click, is as follows.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Well, it sounds remarkable. Yeah. It's great when you bring the expression to each part individually. It sounds very real. Very, very real. Yeah. Good writing.
Thank you. Want to have a ride?
Sure. Yeah. So
which one do you want? You want the cellos?
yeah. Let's just try the cellos.
So of course that is the pedal. The sound is in the pedal.
Yeah.
So you have to,
Yeah.
use it.
This is the vibratos on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and here you also have, of course, these are all assignable. Say, for example, you want to assign MIDI to bow pressure, then you just like that. Oh, wait, learn Then you slide that. Now there you have your bow pressure, and here, wait, just 1 second, please. So, and here you go, you have the bow position. So you can check out, you see? So basically if you're playing, that's your bow position.
Oh, I see.
So that you can choose your sound like that.
So this is the saltasto. The saltasto is pretty good. That's good. Yeah, very expressive. Very, very expressive. And this is what?
Yeah, that's bow pressure.
Okay.
And if you play hard, loud, and with that bow pressure, you even break the string. Yeah, exactly, with the pedal. That's right.
Cool.
Right.
Wow.
Also, what happens is that
Ah.
if you play just gently as a legato,
Ah, okay.
right? Or
So the velocity defines the speed of the portamento.
in this case, the velocity defines the speed of glissando between the one note and the next. You go fast, it's fast.
Yeah, so a little practice, you could really play this thing.
For sure.
No, already I can see that it's, yeah, you could learn it very quickly. Yeah. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Can I have it?
I'm not sure if you can. But listen, let me please show you the trumpet, because of course. Thank you. It's very homemade.
Okay, well now you're in dangerous territory.
I'm in dangerous territory, and I'll take the risk.
Oh, we love challenges.
Hey, come on.
Boy, you have a lot of instruments. You have
All of them.
pretty much everything, huh?
Yep. All right. Let's go. That's it. Have a go.
This would definitely take some. So there's a lot of set noise in this.
So yeah, we can remove a lot of that noise. Like, how about that?
I was trying to get more of a classical sound.
Yeah.
Well, it's not bad, but this is a hard one to convince me. It would take me a long time to really get.
Sounds better than your samples, though.
Oh, well, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. The thing that I have to make sure that I get right is the attack. And it has to be, for me, it has to be up a little bit. That's right. That sounds good. Yeah, you could get that to go. Yeah. Practice with the pedal. No, that has all the potential to really make that work. You put
Of course,
that in
it's
this-
a lot how you set it up, because now,
Yeah.
you know, there are a lot of parameters inside of it, you know. I personally have my preferred way to use
Sure.
them, but you may find that you like different settings. That's more your sound.
Yeah, I was just trying to, for learning it, I just thought more of the classical approach would be simpler because I don't have to worry about the growling and all the
course.
funny stuff. But just getting a good sforzando and a good attack and a good crescendo, that's all there. It all works. It all works really well. We have the cup. Okay. That's a cup. Yeah, that's good. Ah, that's a good straight mute. What's the Prokofiev? I don't remember. Yeah. Sounds like it's mic'd with a 414 or something. Right? It's bright. It's a bright sound.
Yeah.
But it would cut in most applications. It would cut really well. All right.
All right.
Fantastic.
Well, what can I say? Thank you so much
Oh,
for today.
My pleasure.
Yes.
Very impressive. Very, very, very impressive. And when is this available?
It's already available.
It is?
Yeah,
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, show me where to sign up.
We'll get you set up. Don't worry.
Show me where to sign up. This will be incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable. Well done.
Thank you.
Very, very well done.
Yeah.
That's your room.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
So you can put them where you want, and you know this is across all plugins, so they all control one another. So you can...
So once you have this set up, then it looks at this as to where to put the sound.
Correct. It's basically because the interaction of each wave coming from each musician plus the interaction of the early reflections and all of that.
Oh my goodness.
It's a big calculation that this thing can provide.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's fantastic. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Told you.
Yeah. Very impressive. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate you showing me this. It's great. It's great, great, great.